where somebody has referred a case like that. Now, it's against the law for an employer, okay, to not pay for a job done. I'm not talking on credit. I'm talking an employer hires an employee and doesn't pay him. That's theft of service and possible theft of property. Now, if there's a violation on the statute that you mentioned, I'm not familiar with it, and I would suspect that those laws are enforceable, possibly through a federal court, but I have not heard of any case in state court where union contracts are involved or not hiring union workers. Texas is an at-will state. You are not obligated to hire anybody. As long as you don't discriminate according to your sex, gender, age, the recognized protected classes, I don't believe that anybody can do anything to you. But once you start discriminating, you have both state and federal laws that allow somebody to sue you civilly and not criminally. Those violations are not criminal violations, as far as I know. I haven't heard of any that have been brought to our office in the 31 years that I've been there. I do know that oftentimes people come in and say, I did not get paid, my check's bounced, the employer doesn't want to pay me, so I refer those to my check division, where I have 3 investigators now operating with 2, and 1 prosecutor to take those complaints and to prosecute it if they're there. Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez?
As a practicing attorney and also as a sitting judge, I've never had a type of case come before the courtroom. But we have situations where there have been theft of services for individuals who are hired to do a certain job, and when they're hired, the individual who's hiring them intentionally, knowingly knows already that they're not going to pay for their services. And we have a lot of that that's been happening, and the problem's been where these cases are reported, but it seems like the municipality or the county always sends them off to a JP office. They say that it's a civil matter instead of a criminal matter. Well, there's a lot of cases that are criminal. If they have the intent and also knowingly know that they're not going to pay these individuals for the services that they're providing. But again, I've never had a case come before the courtroom as to this type of case or statute, and also as a practicing attorney.
Thank you. This will be our final question, unless anybody else has another one they'd like to submit. Some cultures still regard homosexuality as a crime punishable by death. With that in mind, Mr. Rodriguez, how will you handle hate crimes with the prosecution?
If the law is set out, which is created by legislation, we will enforce the law as it's been given. If there's a crime that's been committed, then we will gather facts and evidence of the case and enforce a prosecution. I know it's a difficult situation and difficult cases, but all we can do is gather up the facts and the evidence of these cases and prosecute to the best of our ability.
Mr. Guerra, same question.
I believe that the hate crimes, there's a specific section in some of the statutes that make, you can establish a hate crime, higher degree of punishment. I didn't raise that question, and I haven't dealt with it in some time. All I can tell you that whether it's a hate crime or any kind of assault or anything that demeans a person, if it's a violation of the law and it's been properly investigated and it can be documented, we take those cases and we fight them. Now, most of these cases, there's been very few that have been referred to us through investigation and arrest that I know of. Of course, we're always, looking for situations where it may not just be homosexuality or desecrating grave sites, desecrating temples, desecrating churches. All these kinds of hate crimes have statutes that we deal with, that we can enforce. But of course, you have to have good prosecution, investigations before we can prosecute these individuals. I don't believe I've ever been lenient on anybody for committing that kind of a crime that I can remember. Of course, like anything else, if you can't establish it, then you have to go with what you can. And this is where plea bargaining and sometimes even the trial, an actual trial, has to be done by the prosecution. And we have to be aggressive. We cannot allow people to hate people just because of their status in life or what they believe in. We live in a U.S. democracy. We have to enforce the law.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. Now, in closing, each candidate will have a 6-minute closing remark. Mr. Rodriguez, since you won the coin flip, you get to start the closing remarks.
Thank you again for being here this evening, and I want to thank the History Club also for giving us the opportunity to be here. Again, this is an opportunity for the county residents of Hidalgo County to be here and meet the candidates and listen to both of them. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, I served on the bench for 6.5 years as a district judge. We made decisions every day that dealt with people's lives, liberty, and property. We made decisions to the best of our ability because, again, every decision that we made in that courtroom, was going to affect someone. So we made sure that we didn't play any politics in the courtroom. We made sure that we didn't play any favoritism in the courtroom. And those are the same things that we want to continue doing as your district attorney. Ladies and gentlemen, as your district attorney, again, we're offering the citizens of this county a change. That's what we're offering them. You will be the judges when you go vote. You will be the judges of what is it that you want for the next 4 years. You will be the judges of whether there's been enough done these past 30 years. You will be the judges, again, if you want new implementations, new procedures. You'll be the judges if you want for us to tackle and aggressively help those with mental health issues. You will be the judges to decide if you want us to strengthen our public integrity division. You will be the judges if you want us to strengthen our relationship with law enforcement and all levels, local, federal, and state. You will be the judges, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to strengthen our victim crime. Like I said before, we don't have a coordinator right now in the DA's office that can assist victims of crimes. We don't have anyone who can guide them. Those are the things that you have to ask yourself, do we need? Yes, we need them, very important. Also, ladies and gentlemen, you have to ask yourself that you have to be the judges of how can we reduce the recidivism of juvenile offenders? What is it that we can do for them? Those are the things that you have to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, when you go and vote. Now, Ricardo Rodriguez has been a humble servant. We've served the county of Hidalgo for almost 6.5 years on the bench, and we feel that we do have the experience. This case is not going to, this campaign, this election is not going to come down to who has more experience or who doesn't. The experience is there, and we're offering that experience as to the district attorney's office. Again, Mr. Guerra said before that if it's not broken, we don't have to fix it. I never said it's broken, but I'm offering new ideas, I'm offering new implementations, I'm offering new procedures. That's what Ricardo Rodriguez is offering to the citizens of this county. And I ask for your support, I ask for your vote. Again, we want to do the same thing we did as your district judge. We want to protect the integrity of the judicial system. We want to treat everyone with dignity and respect. We want to make sure that everyone is given a fair shot. We want to make sure that everyone gets fair access to the judicial system. Because, ladies and gentlemen, when we take an oath, we don't take an oath asking you to trust us. We take an oath to protect society, to protect our judicial system. So thank you again for giving me the opportunity to be here this evening. And again, I ask for your support. and I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
Mr. Guerra?
Thank you. I want to thank the club, the History Club, for having us at this public meeting, where we have presented our views, our experiences, and what we stand for. Now, it's easy to run for office if you qualify. The problem that a lot of candidates have that are attacking incumbents is they say things that sound good to the public without offering specific recommendations to change the deficiencies that they say are hurting the incumbent. In these 6 forums, my opponent has spoken about generalities. He has said that he has tried many cases. In one of the first debates, he said he had tried thousands of cases. Then he changed the number to hundreds of cases. Now, there's a difference in hearing a case as a judge, because basically the lawyers serve everything to the judge on a platter. When there's decision making as to the interpretation of the law, both sides are supposed to brief the law and to present it to the judge. And a judge with knowledge of the general law, with the guidance of the lawyers that before it, criminal, civil, or otherwise, is supposed to make a fair and impartial decision. Now, Hidalgo County was sued by an ex-constable that we removed from office, that I prosecuted, not personally, but to my staff. He was convicted. He was removed by the Supreme Court through a local court's order, and approved by the Supreme Court. In fact, they changed the law. He sued the county, and that lawsuit fell in my opponent's courtroom, or in court. We filed attacks on that lawsuit, and he never ruled on the motion that we filed. A new judge replaced him, and 3 weeks later, or 4 weeks later, that lawsuit was tossed out of court. Now, I don't know about the decisions that were made in the best interest, but I know that that individual should have been tossed out of my opponent's court as soon as he filed the petition, and we attacked the credibility of the claims in that case. Now, he also, and I'm not picking and choosing cases, these are things that you can check. In a child support case, or a child custody case, a divorce case, a son of a lawyer from McAllen got custody and got a default judgment in court. My opponent gave him a default judgment. The lady had not been served. She filed a motion for retrial. It was granted. It went up to the appeals court. During the appeal, when my opponent had lost jurisdiction, he changed the custody of the child. That order was taken to Dimmitt County, Texas, and the son of the lawyer got a sheriff to arrest, to issue an arrest warrant for the mother of the child, and she spent 10 days in jail in Austin because of a court order that my opponent ordered. Now, I'm not saying this to put him down. I'm just telling you that when you make decisions in the courtroom that affect the lives, you have to know what you're doing, whether it be capital litigation or a simple divorce. Now, my opponent has questioned my ethics. He says that I do selective prosecution. Well, let me tell you, I have disqualified myself from very few cases because my job was to do the right thing, regardless of the political consequences. I prosecuted judges, municipal, a district judge, county court law judge. We've investigated coordinators of courts that have been arrested for bribery. I have not run away from political hot potatoes. That's not what I grew up to do. Those are not the teachings of my family, and that's not what I stand for. Now, my opponent's family supported me for 31 years. Now, he says that he started campaigning 6 months ago. When he resigned from office, he attacked me as to selective prosecution. The next day, He got hired by the school district, the school's district attorney, where his sister had secured the contract. A law firm from Austin had to be brought in to partner with that contract. They are getting paid $23,000 a month to represent the Edinburgh School District. And my opponent, with little or no knowledge of school law, got hired a couple of days after he resigned. I just raised those questions. Because why? Because as a prosecutor, your decision making is going to be examined. You can examine mine. If there's anybody that can swear out a complaint about misconduct, criminal, there's grand juries, federal and state, that are waiting for you to swear out the complaint. I ask for your vote. I ask for your support. I ask you to examine the records of my opponent and me. I've been law enforcement for 33 years out of 37 years as a lawyer. I want to represent you. I want to continue representing you. Thank you very much.
In closing, I'm going to turn the podium over to our president.
On behalf of the History Club, we would like to thank both district attorney candidates, Rene Guerra and Ricardo Rodriguez, for participating in our town hall debate. We also wish you both the best of luck. We hope to continue events such as these in the future. I hope everyone in the audience enjoyed creating a little history here at UTPA. I would also like to leave you with a quote, but from historian Frederick Jackson Turner. We shall never deal rightly with such problems until we understand the historical conditions under which they grew. So please, let your voice be heard in this upcoming election come March 4th, 2014. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.